All right, tell me about this giant.
Yeah, this right here, just like it says, it's a closed barn. So the laundromat looks like a barn.
Are there cattle and all that?
It doesn't have that, but when it was open, which is the last picture, it shows that I think he used to sell farm equipment or lawnmower equipment
Yes.
in front of the laundromat.
I love it. That mint green paint on the inside. So look what we see just from my information. You see that changer right in the front and center of the store, which is hilarious. So we know that the store was built in the 70s because the thought was, well, camera systems are too expensive, so let's put the changer in the front of the store to deter thieves. Yeah, it's called the Laundry Barn, and it's closed down, so it looks like a decent footprint. It looks like the equipment is in place. What's the story with the landlord?
Well, with the landlord, he actually owns Taylor property.
Okay.
So I got his number. Well, I got his address from the Cleveland County clerk, and then that's actual Taylor property. His actual management.
And when we Google it, sure enough, it comes up as Taylor Properties.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Who are we? Oh, Clark. Okay.
Clark
Griswold with the Laundry Barn. And it's closed, so it should be a simple matter unless he doesn't want a laundromat anymore. Here we go. Stand by.
Okay. All right.
Tennessee.
Hello, you have reached Taylor. We are sorry we missed your call. Please leave your name, phone number, and message.
All right, stand by. If in fact his number rings and he looks at it and doesn't recognize it, you know this deal. We're going to call again to see if curiosity gets him to pick up. Stand by.
Okay.
That's loud.
Taylor Properties, Clark.
Clark Taylor. I like a guy who answers his own phone. Clark, my name is Danny. I'm actually looking at your space in Cleveland. Wanted to discuss a potential lease. This is 600 Freewill. The former Laundry Barn.
The laundry, yes, yeah.
Laundry Barn. Do you own the building?
I do, yes.
Good for you. So that's what I do. Laundromats, coin laundromats. And if the space is, it looks like it might have the proper footprint for us. And if you'd like to lease it to us for the same defined use, my partner and I will put new equipment in and run the place. I'm not a broker or an agent. I don't try to flip or sell my laundromats. Interested in discussing lease terms.
Okay. Yeah, what it is I've owned that same facility for the property of the business for about 11 years now, 2010, and the upstairs above the laundromat is an apartment. So the individual I had that was there had always lived there for years, and the whole time I owned it as well. Dennis, he passed away recently, so I just had I don't have time to run it. The business is always, it's funny, in the 11 years I've owned it, it's been pretty consistent the whole time. I mean, I will say, it probably actually did a little better, like first 2010 through 12 maybe. But I never even, as far as, not saying I didn't work or try, it kind of took care of, he was always there. He could do a little bit. So anyways, I'm in real estate development. I mean, when he passed away, I always said if he leaves or passes away, I'll be finding a new owner for the business or close it for another use. So anyways, And saying that, I would absolutely, yeah, I'm up for this. Has just all been in the last month. So let me get what's your name again?
Danny.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Danny, D-A-N-N-Y, like Danny K.
Okay, Danny. What's your last name?
D'Angelo, D''A''Angelo. Sounds like there's no middleman, Clark, so we could probably figure out if you're crazy or if I am, and I'll get a letter of intent in your hands. Simple questions are really... Go ahead.
Yeah, and what my options, kind of like I said, is I'm not interested in selling the property per se, and I've always kind of...
And I'm not buying.
Ahead of time.
I just want to talk lease terms.
Yeah. So maybe let's see here. But yeah, that's definitely... I've kind of thought that's what I've had in mind. It's all been in the last month. So let me... what is your... Maybe let's see, later this week. I'm going to be gone tomorrow. I've got a meeting, and then I've got
Clark, we don't need to get together, bro. I just need to have two questions answered. What's the square footage of the laundry space, and what's your ask on a 15-year term?
Square footage on it is just under, I'll pull up real quick here. I think just under 1,200 square foot.
So let me say, it's very small. Did you ever run the laundry? Did you ever operate it?
Yeah, when I say operate.
Did you ever collect the money and run the place?
Yes,
yourself?
I always did all the collecting. So I know exactly the revenue and
okay. We're on the same page. You and I understand one another perfectly because you know what it sounds like when a bearing job goes bad. You know what it's like to sweep the floors in a laundromat and collect the coin on a Monday. So we get that. I know, and you know, this is a very small space.
Here's what I'll tell you, Danny. It did almost, let's see, just under 50, probably 48,000 a year in revenue. That's off the washers and dryers and the two vending machines. And it seems like the last few years, just call it a third was my margin. And that's for a guy, myself, I didn't put a whole lot of effort into it. So it probably could have done a little better if somebody just put a little bit more. Dennis that ran it for me is a great manager. As you know, as an owner and a manager is two different things, and it's why you don't want him. He's not going to try to cut expenses. That wasn't his thing. So he did a great job managing it. I just never tried to do anything to increase my margins, but call it a third.
Sure. Well, the reality is, I don't know if you allocated rent to yourself. Did you? Did you pay yourself rent?
As far as, okay, that's another thing. I did not.
Okay, let me stop you. So we both understand that that's going to be different for me, obviously. No big deal.
But I was going to say this, Danny, is here's what I've had in mind, is leasing this property, and that would include the apartment above that I always kind of said was a wash. So let's call it another, in saying that, the property, the laundry, and the apartment, I would throw that in. Now you take it to, say, the apartment upstairs, $700 a month with that $8,000. You call it $56,000 a year in revenue. Now take $750 off that a month. We're back down to $47,000.
Okay, but listen, you're giving. I appreciate the detail, but you're giving me detail that I'm not really asking for, and that's your business.
That's right. You're not into exactly.
So because I want to go back to step one, square one. We haven't even moved our pawns out yet in this game of chess, if you will. You understand I'm not looking to buy the business at any price. I'm not going to provide key fees. I'm just looking to lease the space. You get that?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Yep.
So again, it's a small space. It's different. If I could build the perfect laundry, they'd be 3,000 square feet all day, every day. It's a great footprint. Absolutely. You and I both know you can't put a McDonald's in a walk-in closet. It just doesn't work. So you need a certain footprint. Can I survive at 1,200 square feet while I'm paying rent? Sure. The bigger difference for us, my partner and I, I'll have debt service on new equipment. We need to retool the space. You get that. So in 1,200 square feet, that's going to be just over 120,000. I usually spend $100 per square foot. I don't care if it's HIP, Speed Queen, Wascomat, American Dryer. That doesn't matter to me. There is no Cadillac. There is no Hyundai in the laundry business. What's the best you
Let me go
can
ahead and tell you,
do?
Danny, it's 24 by 44. So it's 1,056 square foot.
So even smaller.
That's right. Even smaller.
Including
So,
all the space under roof, the boiler room, the restroom, etc. Does it have an ADA compliant restroom?
It let's see, on 80, still be up to date on the ADA. Yeah, with the front restroom is, I believe, I'll just have to double check on that.
Okay. Well, we'll get to
ADA.
all the nitty gritty, the ins and outs, the who's and what's. We need a 15-year term because I'm retooling my stores typically every 7. Don't want to have to limp the equipment along. What's your asking rate? Just the laundry space.
I haven't even, Danny, I don't want to say at the moment you give me that term of 15-year, I'll have to break it down and look into that. I mean, that have not thought through totally, but I'm on page with where you are on this. 15. So you're saying y'all want to do an initial 15-year lease, obviously.
I can do 3 5s. I can do a 5-year with a 5-year and a 5-year option. I don't care. I just need to get to 15. I'm not going to dip my toe in the water and say, well, let's try 12 months and see how it goes. You know what that would end up being. That would be someone that's trying to dip their toe in the water and try to run the place the way it is now. I don't do that.
Exactly. Well, and the problem with the only reason, I mean, believe me, in commercial real estate, 15-year, speaking of, with that property is the possibility of so it would be something, in 15 years where obviously that's the reason I don't want to sell the property if something else.
Well, you can sell. I own commercial space too in 2 countries. So, Clark, at the end of the day, you can sell the building at any point. The lease just goes with it. It doesn't shackle you to it.
Well, what about but there's a possibility that building's not going to be there any longer. if something comes along, but that's what I'm saying. We can.
So someone wants to level the building. You are then shackled with a 15-year lease unless you want to buy me out. I've seen those. You can put that. I mean, I've got stores in 3 states. You can put that an addendum in the in the lease. Pardon me.
Well, yeah, we were exactly. That'd be the fine tuning.
Clark, you got a lot to think about. This is not a cold call. You've got the space. You ran the laundry. I don't fall in love with these locations until my partner and I are bleeding ink or money, and we're not there yet. So I'll send you an email, and all I need from you is what you want to collect on a 15-year term. If it's a no, because you want to level the place in a year or 2, no skin. I get it. Not a problem.
Oh,
do me a favor. Text me your email address at this number, would you?
Yeah, I love it when we hang up here. This is our office number here that you call me on.
What's your cell number?
But let me just is this the number I'm going to text?
The number that you're on is my cell. So go ahead and text me your cell phone number and your email address, and I'll send you a little how do you do with some before and after pictures of my stores, what we do. We're not at the LOI phase yet because I need to hear from you what the jumping off point is. Again, tell me where you need to be on rent. Appreciate your time.
I'll do that. I'm going to send you. When I text you here in a minute. Obviously, remember this is my office number here, which is fine to call. I'm here some.
Text me your cell from your cell.
This is one other latest with that property which could be several years down the road. The infrastructure improvements. The city just sent out to Cleveland a new proposed upgrade road, a new road connecting the exit 20 that'll be coming over the bridge. Okay. No new road from that point, but that intersection would be right there with a whole new. Well,
now you're switching into sales mode. I'm already interested. So, Clark, text me your email, and we'll talk.
You got it, Danny.
Thanks, buddy.
Here, just a second.
Cheers. Oh, wow. He was so nervous. He was making me nervous.
I thought like he stole the property. You know what I'm saying? Like how he was jumping back and forth. I promise you, I was like, is this really your property? Like it's somebody else coming after you, man. I was like, man, I've never seen, like I listened to a lot of your calls.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a landlord like that. I was like, what's going on?
You know what? It happens a lot, to be honest. And I mean, dude, when I say, look, I only need to ask 2 questions, and he went off on a tirade about how much it makes, how much, 48 grand, and I'm sure he's got financials to show that. But again, I can always nitpick these perhaps real numbers. I don't think a guy like Clark is bullshitting me, but when he says it made 48 grand a year, I don't know if you're thinking what I am, but I'm like, bro, you're different. You weren't paying rent.
Exactly.
So we would have 2 major expenses. Everybody wants to make 48 grand a year in a business where they don't have to work at it, right? That's what laundromats are.
Exactly.
They're not.
Exactly.
I never said they were. It's work. Once you have 15 stores, it becomes strangely more and less work. You can't be in all 15 stores, so you tell all of your attendants, hey, I'm going to be making the rounds. Even though you're sitting at home with your feet up, they all think you're at another store. Anyway, I digress. He likely is making, he's making $50,000 a year gross. So the net is what's important, and our net would be greatly diminished by A, rent, B, new equipment, and the note on said equipment. You get it. You understand it. So we've got, look, once he's already texted me his email address, I'll CC you in the standard canned email that we'll send out. And make sure you write in the notes, he's just a nervous guy.
Yeah.
And it's because, I don't know, I didn't clobber him over the head. I'm not crazy Danny that I have this reputation for. Just when someone steps to me, you're going to end up getting shivved. That's the way that this works. I don't play that game. He's a nice guy.
I tell you this, Danny, though. Cleveland, Tennessee is different than Chattanooga. It's like probably 20 minutes away from the other calls you've made.
Bro, I hear this all the time. This part of Jersey is different than Connecticut, different than I just closed a lease in Connecticut this morning. It's all the same. People are the same. Some people have money and it changes them. Some they don't. Some people grew up rich and they end up being assholes. Others aren't.
No, I wasn't going that route. I wasn't going.
No,
that
I know.
Your straightforwardness is intimidating to that. So at least I can definitely tell his personality. He knew you knew what you were talking about, right?
But I don't want to sit for 20 minutes and listen to the guy tell me his life story. I want to know what the rent is. And he's like, I'm not ready to give you the rent. I mean, if I would have said 50 cents a square foot, he'd say yes, and you'd be in a lease for $500 a month.
Yeah.
But it could end up being $450.
Yeah. I definitely felt that.
This is the start of something beautiful. I'm sure of it. But we have to play the game. I'll CC you in the email.